Well, the new Southampton signing paraded on the pitch just now, and a lot more Saints fans have made their way into the stadium. Happy to see new blood coming into the camp, and it is a big job that Nathan Jones has got on here, saying all the right things about making sure that they take the positives from these cup wins into the Premier League relegation campaign as well. But are they good enough to stay out of the bottom three, and are they good enough to pose problems for Manchester City tonight as the band plays when the Saints go marching in as they make their way onto the fields? Big match atmosphere over on the far sides. The band is playing the tune. And Stuart Pearce, a quick word on Jack Grealish, who gets a start as well. He said, boo me if you want, I'll keep giving it back. That's the right attitude, isn't it?
I think he's got an arrogance about him. That's the one thing I do like about him. I think he's got that arrogance to take the ball all the time. He's got the arrogance on a football pitch, no matter what's going on the terraces. I don't think it affects him a great deal. Credit to him. Yeah,
let's see what he's made of tonight. He seems to be enjoying himself. Jack Grealish doesn't seem to be too fazed by any negativity that might be around him. They're trying to whip it up here. Saints go marching in. Stuart Pearce, you've lifted the League Cup twice as captain. How good is that feeling?
Well, listen, the fact that a team of the stature of Manchester City want to retain it year after year after year, and Pep holds great importance in picking this trophy up. I think at the end of his tenure, he'd have probably lifted this trophy, probably more than any other trophy. That tells you something.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, the bigger clubs get accused of not caring about it. He clearly does.
Only the big teams historically are winning this trophy now. You know, years gone by, it was up for grabs for a lot of the unfashionable teams, if you like. Nowadays, you know, if you look back at previous winners, you know, it's the big powerhouse teams in our country.
End of your career, is that the kind of thing you look back on with immense pride? I know your England career gives you so much joy when you look back on it, captaining your country as well, Stuart, but those cup wins and lifting the trophy, that must be an immense source of pride to you as an individual.
I think that every team starts the season with an attempt at winning something, you know what I mean? Some players are fortunate enough to be average players in very good teams that end up winning things. But the bottom line is, when you look back over your career, it's appearances, it's goals, it's caps for your country, and it's silverware. And that will never change.
And we get to that question about relegation and winning a trophy. You obviously want to both survive and win a trophy. But I go back to Birmingham. Birmingham fans will tell you they wouldn't swap staying in the Premier League for that League Cup win against Arsenal in 2011. They would not dream of swapping that. Wigan fans the same with the FA Cup.
Hey, if it's down to me and someone said to me, here's a straight choice to you, play in the Premier League or get relegated and win a trophy, I'll take the trophy every day of my life and back myself the following year to get my team promoted once again. So much stock and so much bluster, I think, gets talked about qualifying for the Champions League or staying in the Premier League. The game's about winning things.
Winning trophies. And this is the pathway. Quarter-final of the Carabao Cup. Teams are in the tunnel. Ilkay Gundogan, the captain of Manchester City tonight, preparing to lead his team out. James Ward-Prowse at the front of the Southampton team. Mascots at the front as well. And Bazunu, the former City man, the Southampton goalkeeper, standing just behind his skipper as they make their way towards the front of the tunnel as the music comes to an end. And what a great rendition that was. That's got the crowd going. Officials come out and the teams are on their way out here at St Mary's. Remember, Forest Wolves is live on Talksport 2 right now. Just download the Talksport app for free. You can swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2. You can swipe between the two games. That's goalless at the moment. Southampton have a massive Premier League game at Everton on Saturday. It's live and exclusive on Talksport 2. The 3 points there will be vital, but warming up for it with a win against City will be ideal preparation For City, Pep loves the League Cup. He's won it 4 times. He wants it back. It's relegation strugglers against title contenders. It's Southampton against Manchester City. It's Saints and winners. And it's live on Talksport with your commentary team of a man who lifted the League Cup twice as captain, Stuart Pearce. He's alongside Jim Proudfoots.
Thank you, Adrian. Well, if the Carabao Cup was supposed to be an afterthought for the big hitters, then nobody ever told Pep. Manchester City haven't lost a League Cup tie in regulation time for 5 years. An extraordinary run of dominance that brought 4 Wembley triumphs and 1 lone penalty shootout elimination. And they're eyeing another dose of February glory to set up their season again. This cup run has already seen 2 of the so-called Big Six dispatched. Sunday's FA Cup success over Chelsea showed a sign whose form is ominous for all they face, especially if you're at a low end. Southampton's slow, long-term descent from mid-table signalled the end of Ralph Hasenhüttl's spell at St Mary's, but there hasn't been a managerial bounce. So far, life under Nathan Jones has been far from supreme. 2 moments of cup solace on a barren league landscape in which the failing team he inherited has kept on losing. The weekend trip to Everton looming large on the horizon as they look for their first points of his reign. The extension of their 11-year Premier League stay clearly paramount, but so often epic cup nights have proved the catalyst to league recovery, the 2 frequently going hand in hand. And if Southampton can achieve the improbable this evening, it could have a galvanising effect on their entire campaign. This, a free shot with implications. This is how the 2 sides line up. Southampton, Bazunu in goal, Lianco, Chalatasar, Salisu and Carl Walker-Peters, Lavia and Diallo, Shenepo, Ward-Prowse and Adam Armstrong, and Segumara up front. On the bench, Aribo, Adams, Orsic, Pero, Adozi, Elyounoussi, Morgan, Finnegan and Caballero. For Manchester City, it's Ortega in goal, Cancelo, Walker, Laporte and Gomez, Gundogan, Phillips and Foden, Grealish, Alvarez and Palmer. Although it could well be that Grealish plays on the left and Palmer, who played on the left of the weekend, goes over to the right-hand side. The City bench, Ake, Haaland, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Mahrez, Akanji, Lewis and Ederson. Manchester City in their change kit tonight of broadly pale yellow. They'll kick from right to left. It's by no means fault St Mary's tonight. Southampton defending the Chapel End away to our left-hand side. We're underway. 10 months ago, Manchester City came to St Mary's and they dispatched an ailing Southampton side from a cup quarter-final with a minimum of fuss. Another cup quarter-final sees their paths cross again. The Saints hoping that a shot at the last 4 will be the shot in the arm that they need. City just hoping for business as usual. Southampton on the front foot from the kickoff. Walker-Peters driving forward. We're still inside the first 30 seconds. And alongside me, a man who's tasted success in this competition, Stuart Pearce.
Evening, Jim. Yeah, looking forward to this one. Should be a fantastic game. As I say, City will want to dominate possession of the ball, but I think it's really important that Southampton get on the front foot for the sake, if nothing else, of their fans tonight. You know, things have been a little bit volatile here on occasion recently, and they'll need to give the fans something to shout about.
Home form hasn't been good, just the 1 win so far in the league. It was an excellent success against Chelsea. Manchester City, conversely, away from home, just the 1 defeat so far, which came at Liverpool. Southampton work a long throw forward. It might break for Ward-Prowse towards the edge of the area. Back for one of the former City men, Lavia. Good ball from him. Just falls Shenepo a little bit wider than he wanted to go. He can keep it in down by the corner flag. He's got Lavia showing for him in support. Lavia knocking it square to his left. Diallo back to him, and then Chalatasar teasing one over the top. He was looking for the run of Carl Walker-Peters, but it'd been mopped up effectively enough at the back by Salisu. And he goes back for Gavin Bazunu, another former Manchester City player in this Southampton team. We've got another one on the bench as well. 2 on the bench, Adozi. And Willy Caballero, the daddy of the side. Ball out of play for a goal kick which will be taken by Manchester City. Still 0-0 at the City ground between Forest and Wolves. That one live here right now over on Talksport 2. And here at St Mary's on Talksport, it's 0-0 with a couple of minutes gone.
Yeah, there was a bit of speculation before the game whether Southampton would line up with a back 3/5, but they've certainly not done that. It's a back 4, 4-2-3-1 with Ward-Prowse, the furthest of the midfield central players, pushed on, and he'll be the one to get around Phillips by the looks of things.
Yeah, they played this shape against Crystal Palace at the weekend with a back four. There's three of that same back four today, with Walker-Peters replacing Perrault at left back. It's the only change in personnel in the Southampton defensive lineup. Here's Walker playing at centre half tonight. Centre half in a four. A little bit of pressure put on Ortega, but he's able to get it away outside the penalty area to Ilkay Gundogan, who's on the left of the three midfielders for Manchester City. Foden on the right of those. Here's Cancelo making his way forward, looking for Foden. And Manchester City will get a cheap corner as Foden was waiting for the ball to drop his way. Adam Armstrong made sure that it didn't get there, but it was a heavy touch off him as he blocked the pass, and it scoots 40 yards behind him for the first corner of the night to City.
Yeah, as I said, really important that all their play has got to be in a forward direction, Southampton, whether they're pressing aggressively. Certainly early on in games like this, you've got to get on the front foot and not be tentative.
Palmer making a run in towards the near post from the corner. It was Lianco that climbed the highest to get it away. City pick it up again on the left flank with Sergio Gomez. Back from him to Walker. Walker to Cancelo. Space for Phil Foden now on the Manchester City right-hand side, faced up by Djenepo, but Foden just controlled it neatly, worked it back for Kyle Walker, who's won this competition 4 times in his career. Grealish towards the edge of the penalty area, into the feet of Gundogan. Ilkay Gundogan, another who played in all 4 of those successful Manchester City finals when they won this competition in successive seasons, 2018 through 2021. Here's Jack Grealish, who's on the losing side in one of those in his Villa days. Just trying to stand the ball up. Bazunu will come and deal with it at the near post. It had just taken a little nick off Lianco on its way through. And I saw Alvarez's eyes light up for a moment, but the man who scored 4 in the World Cup didn't get an opportunity because of solid goalkeeping from Gavin Bazunu. 4.5 gone. Here with Talksport, it's 0-0, and this is Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, watching City play and stroke the ball around like a well-oiled machine, as I say. The passing, the angles, the movement of the ball, 1 and 2 touch all the time. Very slick, and they'll be attempting to dishearten Southampton with their possession play.
Manchester United already through, Newcastle are through, and Forest lead at Wolves in the other game tonight. Willy Bolly scoring against his old club. Forest 1, Wolves 0. That's 15 ahead of us, so they played nearly 20 minutes there in the East Midlands, and Forest lead it as they look for revenge, long overdue revenge for that 1980 League Cup final defeat. And the night when Dave Needham and Peter Shilton, if memory serves me correctly, just got each other in a tangle, and Andy Gray capitalised and put the ball in the empty net. Ball played forward up the Southampton left-hand side by Salisu, under pressure from Foden. Salisu's won it. Butler's then lost it as he tried to play it up the left-hand touchline. He kept it in. He will wish he hadn't. Gundogan has put it wide. Just came onto it, making a third-man run from the midfield. He scuffed it really from the edge of the penalty area, and he sent it wide with little power past Bazunu's post. It's a let-off for Southampton.
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago, Jim, I said about in games like this, if you're Southampton and the crowd are ready to turn and things are not going well, don't get caught on the ball at the back. It cost them the game at the weekend. Don't get caught, and Salisu took an absolute eternity to play the ball forward. In the end, he got caught not once but twice on the ball.
City, with those 4 successes that they have had in the very recent past, have won the League Cup 8 times in all, 6 times in the last 9 seasons, which has given Pep this outstanding record. Djenepo trying to get goal side of Sergio Gomez. He's managed it as well, but Aymeric Laporte was in there with a decent sliding challenge to make sure it's nothing more than a corner. But Gomez caught there the former Anderlecht man. Djenepo embarrassing him, but Laporte saved the day.
Well, once again for both teams, the opportunity coming not from great build-up play, from defenders getting caught on the ball, taking too much time.
James Ward-Prowse will take this corner for Southampton on the right flank. He's worked it into the feet of the near post. He gets a return ball from Armstrong. Walker-Peters chipping it in. That's half clear. Djenepo sticking out of foot. Doesn't quite break on the edge of the area for Walker-Peters. But Ortega is down to make an outstanding save. Really well struck by Challenger Sarr on the edge of the penalty area, the outside of the right foot, and a decent stop as it came through a crowd, and he did well to beat it away and out of play for a corner, which is taken quickly and swung in deep, and the goalkeepers had to palm that one away as well, and out for another corner. 3 corners in quick succession as Southampton trying up the tempo.
Yeah, as I say, both corners taken short, trying to tempt City out, and then all of a sudden got a little bit scrappy for the first one, but Chaletakar on the edge of the box there just cut across it a little bit, but a good save all the same.
Ward-Prowse with his latest corner. That's a deeper one, a more routine delivery. Grealish has headed it clear. It's flighted back in, and a looping header from Salisu just comes safely into the hands of Ortega. That will give Southampton encouragement, though. A couple of minutes of a passage of play where they won 3 corners, they forced the goalkeeper into a decent save, and they showed that they're not here just to make up the numbers tonight.
No, you're right in what you say there, Jim, but it's really important. Every opportunity they get, they've got to put the ball in the box or play it forward.
Grealish. Gomez to Emerick Laporte, and his ball back towards Grealish was given away. Southampton making a decent start here, the livelier of the two in the first 8 minutes. Genepo wins the throw. It's only about 15 yards from the corner flag. And Guardiola's only lost 2 of his 29 ties in this competition. 1 on penalties to West Ham United last season, the other in his first season in charge in a Manchester derby back in 16-17. Throw's going to be taken on the Southampton right here by Lianco, the Brazilian who's been playing at right back under Nathan Jones some of the time. Ball thrown inside the penalty area, took a flick, falls for Genepo, and that's over the bar.
See, once again, good opportunity there, long throw from Lianco, but it's creating skirmishes in and around the box, and I think Southampton have got to do that, keep chasing lost causes and keep getting the ball forward and into the box and ask questions of City.
That's one area where Southampton have struggled, is early in games. They've actually gone 1-0 down in each of their last 10 matches in all competitions, and they're not quite fluent enough to be in that position where you can guarantee that you're going to give yourself a chance of winning games when you need to score 2 to win every week, and they managed it coming from behind at Palace at the weekend in the FA Cup. It would be a much taller order if they were to go 1-0 down today, of course. And just a reminder, no extra time on the agenda, straight to penalties if it's level after 90 minutes tonight. Calvin Phillips involved in the midfield for Manchester City, winning the ball cleanly, finding Foden and then getting it straight back again. Out it goes to Cancelo and back for Walker. And Kyle Walker will take a touch, get it onto his right foot, just side foot it forward for Calvin Phillips. Wearing 4 for City. Out to Cancelo, faced up by Armstrong on halfway. He's played it back for Walker. And now to Laporte. Now Pep Guardiola bobbing up and down on the edge of his technical area, waving his right hand, trying to get a message across to somebody. Is it Cancelo? He wants him to be more advanced or further in a wide position. Couldn't quite make out what the gesticulations exactly meant. Palmer will pick it up for City on the right, and Sergio Gomez very quickly has it in the centre of midfield and plays it down for Grealish. Grealish back past Genepo to Gomez again. Gomez exchanging passes with Phillips this time. Now back for Laporte. Laporte, who scored an own goal here last season and a goal here at the right end in the Premier League as well. Gundogan back for Gomez, 15 outside the penalty area. Ilkay Gundogan picking up it again, but in a slightly wider position. Lavia's gone with him. Two men who know each other so well from a multitude of training sessions up at Manchester City in the past. Walker with Cancelo making a really good early run, but Walker neglected to play that ball. He would have had to have hit it first time. Laporte can find Gundogan in space, coming in off the left though for Manchester City. It's still 0-0 here on Talksport. Genepo does well to stick a foot in. Lianco with a brisk back pass that Bazunu had to just hurry to get to, and he clears it away from Grealish, and out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Manchester City left.
Yeah, at this moment in time, Manchester City are getting a good feeding line out here to Grealish, who's playing just in front of us, just down on the touchline, holding his width, being right nice and patient, but when he's received the ball, he's gone forward and drove at the defender, and he's going to keep asking questions all night, looking for those little give and goes.
City have beaten Chelsea and Liverpool to get to this tie. Southampton have played 3 League One teams so far. Won comfortably at Cambridge and beat Sheffield Wednesday on penalties before seeing off Lincoln in a game that remains their only home win since the end of August. Free kick to City, taken quickly by Grealish. And now Kyle Walker has it. Excellent travelling support from Manchester City away to our right-hand side. It's them that you can hear. Adam Armstrong picking it up on the Southampton left. Fresh from his winning goal at the weekend. And those over on the far touchline felt he was fouled. The referee significantly didn't. It's Peter Banks who's in charge tonight. And the official who was the referee the last time that Manchester City lost the game at home to Brentford back in November. City have it at the back with Walker. No pressure coming on him until he ventures to within about 5 yards of halfway, or of the centre circle, should I say. And then Mara came across and applied a little bit of pressure, the former Bordeaux man. Back for Laporte on the City left. He's got a stretch to keep that in. He's failed. And it's a throw to Southampton just inside Manchester City territory. 0-0.
It's really important for Southampton on this side of the pitch, on their right-hand side. Lianco playing as a right-back, and just in front of him, Gineppo. And there's been a couple of times that ball's been played outside Gineppo into Grealish's feet, and he's got to make sure, A, he shuts the line of the ball off, and secondly, he recovers when the ball goes beyond him.
Moussa Gineppo, who is playing on the right-hand side today. He's played a left wing-back at times this season. He's actually had a couple of starts at left-back as well, but back in a much more orthodox position for him. Mali, an international. Laporte, back for Walker. Rare outing for Kyle Walker in the centre of a back four today, and he just sent the ball out towards the left-hand touchline there, and he was clearly expecting Laporte to be in a position to go for it, or Sergio Gomez, and he just looked up and he saw that it was sailing innocuously straight out of play for a throw to Southampton, and the geography of the situation wasn't at all what he was anticipating. Here's Salisu. It's a measured start here by Manchester City by their standards. Challenger Sarr playing it forward, headed away by Sergio Gomez, backpedaling, the bearded Brazilian Lianco all headed away. Bounces on halfway, Phillips is in there after the bounce to nod it forward. Gineppo looking for Mara, ended up getting fouled. And he's found himself sandwiched between Gundogan and Phillips. It was Ilkay Gundogan that got him, and it's a free kick to Southampton just inside Manchester City territory.
Yeah, I think Southampton has started very well for a team that are under pressure with their league form. They've started pretty well in this game. In the main, been on the front foot. The proviso I would put there, and we've seen it already with Salisu, got to be really careful. If you've got the opportunity, go forward. Don't come back and play across your back line. It just encourages City to come onto you, and in the end they end up putting the ball back to the goalkeeper and bringing City onto them.
Ward-Prowse taking a free kick out towards the right-hand side, but everybody thought he was going to tease it forward. Adam Armstrong does work it in. Mara was trying to attack it. Comes out for Kyle Walker-Peters on the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Lavia now, who's scored one spectacular goal in his Southampton career so far. Back from Ward-Prowse out to the left-hand side for Diallo. Diallo and Lavia exchanging passes again. And it'll be worked back for Gavin Bazunu. And Bazunu, the Irish international, driving his right foot through it, trying to get Gineppo forward down by the corner flag. He's going to be able to control it. It's a lovely pass to find him. Sergio Gomez committed, and did he get the last touch? No. It nutmegged him. He allowed that to happen to make sure that the ball went out of play for a goal kick. Manchester City will take it with 16 minutes in. You're with Talksport. It's Southampton 0, Manchester City 0 in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Gineppo's had a couple of good opportunities to go at his opponent, but he's almost got, what's the opposite to happy feet? Unhappy feet, I suppose. they just sort
unhappy
of,
hands. I mean, where are you going with this?
It's as though his brain isn't in sync with his feet. You just want to, push it past the fella and go and take him on. He's trying to do too many tricks in one hit.
Clips of the week with Hawksby and Jacobs, incidentally, is on Friday. I don't know what's made me just think of that. The Friday afternoon at 3:30. Salisu will play back for Gavin Bazunu, and Bazunu will clear it right-footed over halfway, a long ball over halfway. It's 0-0, 17 minutes gone. Forest 1, Wolves 0 over on Talksport 2. Here it's 0-0 between Southampton and the 8-time winners Manchester City. Grealish fouled in the midfield. Ward-Prowse is going to go over and speak to the referee Banks. Lianco having a word as well. Things will be calmed down. Southampton have never won this competition. They were runners-up actually to Forest back in '79, the first time that Forest won it. It was a thrilling final, that one, 3-2 in Forest's favour. Also runners-up much more recently than that in 2017, another thrilling final where it might have been a different story against Manchester United had VAR been in existence. Walker playing it forward towards Gundogan. Gundogan turning it back inside his own half. That was the last time actually that Southampton won a quarter-final in this competition. They beat Arsenal that year and then beat Liverpool in the semis. City, for their part, a brilliant record at this stage of the competition, as you would expect. They've won each of their last 8 League Cup quarter-finals. 3 of them against Leicester, 3 of them against Arsenal. Ball's out of play for a throw to City. Level the edge of the Southampton penalty area. And Sergio Gomez is going to take it. Gomez, the Spaniard who arrived in an £11 million deal in the last transfer window. For just joining us, Southampton parading the new signing Charlie Alcaraz from Racing in Argentina. Tonight he's arrived in a £12 million deal. Central midfielder with 80-odd first-team games behind him by the age of 20. Here's Jack Grealish on the left-hand side of the penalty area for City, trying to drive at Lianco. It's taken a little deflection off him. And again, looked up kindly for Bazunu, who will come out. Good anticipation from the former City goalkeeper. And his handling was assured. We're 19 minutes in, and neither goalkeeper has had too much to do. It's the one save from Ortega to deny Chalet Assar. It's 0-0.
Yeah, it looks to me as though this is the access that Manchester City are going to be most fruitful at. Getting the ball wide. They've switched it a couple of times really well from sort of central midfield area on the right to Grealish on the left. And Grealish, very clever. Good personal control, and he's causing the odd problem out this side.
Here's Gomez working it back again. Laporte just having to hurry up a little bit under pressure from Mara, who's still waiting for his first Southampton goal after his move from Bordeaux. Ortega clears. Good intelligent header forward will get Adam Armstrong going for Southampton. Trying to take on Walker, who shuffled out from centre half and used the full length of the pitch, digging it clear. Got it away before it went out of play for a corner. City cleared a halfway, and back it'll come again with Chalet Assar finding Lianco and out to Gineppo on the Southampton right. And then that same passing move is executed in reverse. Now Lianco getting it again, sending it forward. Mara trying to get in there, brings it down on his thigh, shot on the turn, takes a deflection off the nearest City player. No, he didn't. He's just shanked it wide. I thought that the shot went so wide that it must have just spooned off the nearest City defender, but didn't make clean contact on the turn. Out of play, goal kick, and we're 20 minutes in, 0-0 on Talksport.
Yeah, really good opportunity there. As I say, made a good run into the box, and then when he's got the ball down, instead of dealing with the ball first and taking the bounce out of the ball, he's ended up trying to swivel and hit a shot all in one go. Almost impossible. He's got to understand his defender has got a big problem there, and he's got to either set a shot up or get turned if he can.
Well, we're done here tonight. It'll be your chance to have your say on national radio. Jason Cundy and Jermaine Pennant are taking your calls on the Sports Bar tonight. 03717 223344 is the number. You get your calls in and have your say on national radio. Tomorrow morning from 6, Alan Brazil, Annie McCoist and Gabby Agbonlahor on Talksport Breakfast. And Andy Townsend and actor Ross Kemp amongst their guests on the show from 6 tomorrow on Talksport. 21 minutes in, it's 0-0 in the driving Hampshire rain. It feels as though most of the English Channel and the Solent coming down on St Mary's tonight. It's been a filthy day, this part of the world. Here's Sergio Gomez bringing it forward towards Grealish. Grealish takes a touch, goes back inside his own half, having picked up possession. Gundogan through to Phillips inside the centre circle. Phillips poking it forward, just presented it straight to Mara. He then drove it straight at Phillips. And Southampton can pick up the pieces, and Armstrong works it wide for Ward-Prowse on the turn. He'll try and get Mara in, and the goalkeeper come out and committed himself. He's off his line as it sits up for Ward-Prowse, but he can't find Gineppo or go for goal, and City will be able to bring it away, then give it away And Lianco driving forward from right back. That's not the worst ball in. It's a brilliant goal. Mara giving Southampton the lead. City giving the ball away. Lianco ran onto it, drove forward 20 yards, drove it in the penalty area, and Sekou Mara scores his first goal for the club. What a time to do it. The shot might just be on. Southampton 1, Manchester City 0.
Well, it's fair to say that Southampton have probably been the most forthright team within this game, and what a fantastic ball it was to ask the question from Ward-Prowse, and then from that moment on it was a giveaway of possession by both teams. There was a counter and then a counter of the counter, and then Lianco whipped a ball in and Mara finished it absolutely fantastically well. Criticised him earlier for the first one, but for that one, that was absolutely beautiful finishing.
Well, this is the ideal situation for Nathan Jones. His side 1-0 up, but also the identity of the goal scorer. I think Adam Armstrong needed his at the weekend. Mara certainly needed that tonight. His first since his £11 million move from Bordeaux. There's no doubting his potential. He's a man that scored 5 in 5 as France won the Under-20 World Cup. And not only his 5th start for the club, with a flurry of substitute appearances in there as well. He now has a Southampton goal, and Saints, who conceded first in their previous 10 matches, find themselves in the relatively unaccustomed position of having something to protect. It's only the 5th time against Premier League opposition all season that they've scored first. They have actually lost 2 of the other 4. City finding themselves behind against Premier League opposition for only the 4th time this season. 1-0 to Southampton. That will concentrate a few Manchester City minds. They've not been at their best by any stretch of the imagination so far. Lianco, who's part in the goal, can't be overplayed. Driving it forward here, a real high up and under off the top of Ward-Prowse's head. Phillips beats him at the second time of asking. Foden turning it forward for Alvarez. Ilkay Gundogan can bring it forward. Lavia giving away a good free kick. He's going to get a yellow card for the challenge, but it was a sensible one to give away as Gundogan threatened to break forward quickly, with Southampton having lost their defensive shape. Yeah,
as I say, turnover there. Gundogan had gone away from him and he just wrestled him to the ground basically. Well, the game is set up absolutely brilliantly now. I think the fans as well will be very pleased that their home team has taken the lead in this one.
Well, these two sides have met 4 times previously in the League Cup. Southampton have been the victorious team on 3 of them. They lost the last one, which was in round 4 3 seasons ago, but they did beat them at this stage en route to the final in '79. Trevor Hebbard scoring the winner at the Dell, and they lead here tonight. Walker's got the ball at the back for Manchester City. The City free kick driven in, easily headed away. Here's Phillips. Very different City performance tonight to that blew Chelsea away in the opening stages, that first half of the weekend. But playing against better opposition tonight in terms of the way Southampton's performance has certainly been better than that Chelsea mustered on Sunday. Ball out of play, and Nathan Jones applauds, delighted with what he's seen so far. We're just past the midway stage of the first half. Southampton lead it by a goal to nil. City next in action away at Manchester United. It is exclusive to Talksport. Premier League Manchester derby kicks off at 12:30 Saturday. Game day live with you from 11. And then after that, City then in action the following Thursday at home to Tottenham. We've got that one for you as well. It's Thursday night. Ball just worked back towards Ortega there. And Mara, whose adrenaline really coursing through his veins after that first Southampton goal, just almost got to the back pass in time. He didn't quite. City survive. Southampton's next game also live on the Talksport network for you. It's on Talksport 2, a 3 o'clock kickoff Saturday afternoon. Massive game at the bottom as Saints go to Everton. Here's Diallo bringing it forward. Good ball slipped towards Ward-Prowse. Looked as though it was initially, but he got the angle all wrong. The weight was okay, but he played it 5 yards further to the right than he needed. And Ortega had a chance to seize upon it. Ward-Prowse making a good run through the midfield, but the quality of the pass not what it might have been. Here's Gundogan turning for City. Now we get it forward towards Grealish, Alvarez and Foden both making their way into the middle. It's in behind the pair of them, but a left-footed shot comes in from Palmer. That's blocked on the edge of the area from Salisu. Back to Palmer again and then cleared right-footed by Diallo. Manchester City, just for a moment, looked as though they were going to carve Southampton open. Here's Palmer. Can't thread it. And to his right-hand side for Cancelo's run. Saints will be able to bring it away with Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse the only player in support with him in Manchester City territory when Walker-Peters was forced to try and play the ball. He ended up getting a throw out of it midway inside the City half. 27 gone. You're with Talksport. It's Southampton 1, Manchester City 0.
Yeah, Southampton got away with one then. On that occasion, Lianco got it all wrong, stepped in to try and win the first one, left Grealish in behind him, and Grealish, well, eventually his cross was cut out.
Now Lavia's done really well to turn it forward. Jenner posing, the keeper off his line! Lights it over in for 2! Manchester City, 2 down in half an hour against the side bottom of the Premier League table. Ortega's starting position will certainly be called into question. He was a long way off his line there. Genepo picking it up 30 yards out, and he flighted it expertly over him. And Southampton are in dreamland, leading Manchester City by 2-0.
Well, I've got to say, Genepo had happy feet on that occasion, that is for sure. Got it at his feet, and he's put so much loft on it. When it first left his foot, you thought it was going way over the goal, and all of a sudden, the goalkeeper's position was probably misleading us slightly, and it's dropped into the goal, and we've got a real game on our hands, and City have got a game on to stay in the competition.
Well, the last time Southampton beat Manchester City, it came with a Shea Adams goal that wasn't too dissimilar to that. It was from further out. Edison was the goalkeeper on that occasion, and it was an error that had led to Adams' chance, but it was another expertly flighted long-range effort. And Moussa Genepo scores his first of the season. Just his 5th in more than 80 games for Southampton. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. And they're in ecstasy here, and they're not too displeased about it in the red half of Manchester or in Newcastle either. How can Manchester City respond? Southampton aside, who since Nathan Jones took over have won both of their cup ties and not picked up a point in the league. Is that run going to be extended tonight with another cup victory? Foden lays it back, Phillips, Sergio Gomez, Laporte, Ortega behind him. Laporte turns neatly, plays it down for Sergio Gomez again to Jack Grealish coming in off the left flank. Lianco follows him, and then Grealish tries to backheel it towards Gundogan. He was caught by Grealish, or by Lianco, should I say. Lianco came in, intercepted it. Grealish then caught him, and it's a free kick that'll be taken by Southampton 12 yards inside their own half. Don't think too many saw this transpiring as it has.
I think you were pretty positive about Southampton's in a sarcastic manner there, Jim, earlier.
I didn't necessarily anticipate they'd be 2-0 up after half an hour.
I'll tell you what, the way they've got on the front foot, you know, early on they're a bit tentative, if you like, playing sideways and backwards, certainly across the back line, but since then, they've got the ball forward into a critical area and asked questions of Manchester City at the back. And City look as though they've turned up and want to play good football, but don't want to do the dirty stuff at the moment to get a result on a very wet night down on the south coast.
So where are City going wrong? What do they need to do? What do they need to change in order to be more proactive, to get more possession, to have that possession in better areas and create more opportunities on Bazunu's goal? Because he hasn't had a difficult save to make yet.
No, he hasn't. I think this ball out and this access out here to Grealish, I mean, Grealish is tucked in the pitch at the moment, but they've been able to get the ball to Grealish out here and let him get a run at Lianco, which has been pretty good. But they've not defended particularly well and made life a little bit easy for Southampton, getting the ball forward and getting the ball in the box and causing the odd problem for them.
Well, the statistics are telling. Possession 71-29 in Manchester City's favour. The shot count, 6-2 Southampton, and they've had all 4 attempts on target tonight. 2 of them obviously have gone in. Goals from Mara on 23, Genepo on 29. It's Southampton 2, Manchester City 0 on Talksport. Here's Laporte playing it halfway for Foden. He's put under pressure by Armstrong. And City work it back again to their back line for Walker. Walker to Gomez. Gomez to Phillips. It wasn't the best ball. Phillips actually did well to rescue it. He slid in almost on one knee and then flicked it back to the young Spaniard, who then exchanges passes with Grealish on this near touchline. Grealish shown aside by his one-time international teammate Ward-Prowse. He'll find Cancelo. Cancelo playing it out to the City right-hand side for Palmer. Palmer back for Joao Cancelo again. Armstrong puts in a really good shift defensively off that left-hand side for Southampton. Just the preventing City being able to work it forward as they wanted. They've still been able to maintain possession. Gundogan in there. Head of Diallo to Gomez, now down towards Grealish. Grealish right in front of us, about 20 yards in to the half that Southampton are defending. And eventually it's put out of play by Genepo. He's claiming that it took a deflection off Sergio Gomez. Judging by Gomez's reaction, I think it may have done, because he wasn't necessarily expecting it to be a throw his way, but it was. That's how it transpired, and City restart play quickly with Laporte finding Walker. Walker at centre-half on the right of 2 centre-halves, Stu?
Well, listen, both goals have come from sort of errors in the central area. I'd like to see them again on replay to see his positional play in regard to that. Firstly, Genepo's movement.
Oh, Lianco's dived in and committed himself, and Grealish is past him. He's inside the penalty area. He's still got it and drove it towards goal. Chalad Assar used his experience, just stood firm, didn't second guess Jack Grealish, and was able to block a fierce shot towards the far post and put it out for a corner.
Yeah, that's the second time now in the last 5 or 6 minutes that Lianco's dived in. He's no need to do that. Stay up, don't commit yourself, don't go dabbling around for things you shouldn't get involved in.
Grealish takes the corner, Bazunu comes out, punches it clear, and a little bit of traffic to contend with that made catching it impossible. Walker-Peters then clears it into Foden, and out of play for a Southampton throw, and Walker-Peters will trot for this near touchline back out to his left back berth on the far side. 10 minutes to go to half time. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. A reminder that the other quarter-final tonight is also live on the Talksport network. Half-time at the City Ground. Forest 1, Wolves 0 with Willy Bolly's goal. And the second half live on Talksport 2 with Joe Shannon and Chris Iwelumo. Will be underway in about 4 or 5 minutes' time. The referee getting in the way of a ball driven through the Southampton midfield. They maintained possession, so play was allowed to go on. Walker-Peters back for Salisu. Salisu to Diallo. Diallo trying to turn it away, getting the better of Alvarez, but then overheating his pass. There he goes out for a throw that will be taken by City over on the far side. One of the observations I would make seeing a bit of Southampton under Ralph Hasenhüttl was that they had this ability to be able to raise their game frequently against the better sides. They have beaten Manchester City, I think, under Hasenhüttl. They didn't beat all of the top 6. They certainly beat 5 of them at one stage or another. They knocked Arsenal out of the cup. They had famous wins here against City, against Liverpool as well. More than capable of being on the end of some heavy defeats against those teams, but they did have this ability to be able to raise their game for matches like this, and that has carried on.
Yeah, it has, and you've got to give them credit, really. They've come into this game, no one really fancied them in this game, and to be fair, they're the team on the front foot, they're the team hurrying the opposition down and probably wanting it a little bit more, you would say.
Long ball sent forward from the Manchester City midfield is headed by Lianco back to his goalkeeper. This will mean a lot for Bazunu. It'll mean a lot for Lavia as well, for Edozie if he gets the chance to come on. Products of the Manchester City Academy, all sold for big money. Clearance from Bazunu, who's put under pressure by the City press and by Alvarez, and he shanked it away, but no harm done from a Southampton perspective. And City still wait for their first shot on target of the night. Here's Ortega. Stefan Ortega, the German goalkeeper, is actually relegated from the Bundesliga last season. He's started all of City's domestic cup ties this season, their last couple of Champions League ties as well. Only conceded 3 goals in a City shirt in 5 games before tonight, but beaten twice in a 6-minute spell here in the Hampshire rain tonight. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. Ball on the City left with Gomez playing it forward, and it's Genepo. Gets a pat on the back from his manager as it goes out of play. It's a throw, which will be taken on the Manchester City left, and Gomez has worked it back for Laporte again. Pep often cuts an animated figure on the edge of the technical area. He's just sitting down, almost motionless at the moment. His left arm outstretched as if he's a traffic policeman and someone's pressed the pause button on. And he's just pointing constantly. He's just brought his left arm down now. He's not happy. You can understand that. Grealish playing it forward. Alvarez with a clever little flick. Foden comes onto it. Foden with a very quick feet, trying to get the better of Ward-Prowse et al. In the midfield, but Southampton bring it away. Lavia's done well, very well. Mara did well to leave it, because he might have been offside. Ward-Prowse wasn't, running onto it, and he's got it. Genepo, Southampton working it back to go forward, but they very ably played their way out from a tight little corridor there. Salisu's got it at the back for Saints, to the Croatian Chaladasar. His ball forward down towards the touchline, flicked on very well by Ward-Prowse, and Genepo trying to get in goal side of Gomez, almost managed that and then went to ground right in front of the assistant referee. No foul, and City will bring it away with Gundogan.
Yeah, there was a booking for diving there, but obviously the officials have given up on that particular law of the game.
Might come back to it potentially when the ball goes out, but as we saw at the World Cup, as I know is one of your bugbears there, yellow cards for diving are very much passé.
A thing of the past, I'm afraid.
Here's Grealish.
But the amount of ball that Manchester City have had on this side of the pitch, their left-hand side, I think they've been more dominant this side. Palmer's not had as much of the ball, and as you rightly pointed out, Pep's been gesturing earlier in the game. He's looking for width from his team. I don't know whether he wants that from Palmer or suggesting his fullbacks have got to offer it.
Now Cancelo plays it forward. Gundogan, good layoff from him. Here is Cole Palmer right on cue, corner of the penalty area, faced up by Walker-Peters. He's done well to retain possession. Referee takes evasive action as the pass finds Calvin Phillips. Back out to that City right-hand side again. Gundogan patrolling out there now, has brought it back, lays it back for Laporte, but City have got everybody in Southampton territory, and most of them pretty deep in there. Gomez lays it back to the edge of the centre circle for Walker. Walker playing it out towards Cole Palmer. Palmer, the Withenshaw lad, turning away from Armstrong, who was stuck out of foot. Ward-Prowse able to bring it away, and Kyle Walker will turn it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Ward-Prowse, the man that provides all the experience. He's not that far short of 400 Southampton games. It's a milestone he'll reach if he stays fit before the end of the season. Could get to 50 goals for the club tonight, potentially. He's on 49. And just seeming to thrive on that slightly more advanced role with Diallo and Lavia as the double pivot in behind him, just allowing Ward-Prowse to get closer in attendance of Mara ahead of him. City have a free kick, they've taken it quickly. Walker-Peters having to deal with the threat, with Palmer making a run on his blind side, and he's headed it out of play for a Manchester City corner.
I'll tell you a little frustration with me. The ball's gone out to Palmer on probably 4 or 5 occasions now, and he wants to cut back in on his left foot. Every now and then he's got to put the ball in the box.
In comes a corner, and it's beaten everybody. Chaladasar going up for it, and did it take a touch off the top of his head? It must have done, because it's been given as a City throw. Gomez gallops forward to take it. Grealish showing for him almost on the corner quadrant. Ball thrown instead. Well, I was going to say thrown. It was dropped towards Alvarez, and the referee has given a foul throw rightly to Southampton, who lead by 2 goals to 0 with 3.5 minutes to go to half time.
Yeah, just that point on Palmer. You know, he's picked the ball up in decent wide areas, then he's cut inside. I think he knows that he can't take Walker-Peters for pace on the outside. Comes inside on that left foot, and everything's a backward pass into central midfield. He's got to open his body up and deliver the ball into the box on occasion.
Diallo heading it forward. Phillips going in very strongly with Ward-Prowse in the centre of midfield. Lavia Heading it, Sergio Gomez winning it, bringing it down. Phillips plays it forward. Was fouled by Armstrong. And it's a free kick. Well, we went through the Manchester City bench earlier and made your eyes water. It's worth going through it again. Ake, Haaland, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Akanji, Mahrez, Lewis, arguably the best 18-year-old in English football, and Edison. I just wonder at what stage we might see one or more than one of those for City. Well, there's a massive game coming up live on Talksport at the weekend, 12:30 Saturday lunchtime against Manchester United. But needs must. Here's Gundogan. Back for Laporte. Deepest of City's outfield players and still 10 yards inside Southampton territory. Gomez and Grealish combined. It's gone out of play. It's a throw which will be taken by City on their near touchline, or the near touchline, their left. And Grealish hands it to Gomez, who takes the throw back for Laporte, and the rain is coming down with even more ferocity now. Cancelo showing for it. Slightly heavy first touch, and Mara might have capitalised on that. Couldn't quite. Not quite heavy enough for him to be able to make the most of it. Gomez bringing it forward here. Still Nathan Jones outside his technical area, gesticulating. Some heat map that he's got at the end of the night. Grealish. They're back for Gomez again. Gomez inside his own half for Laporte. The Southampton manager, a man that kicks every ball on the touchline. Lavia winning it back. Four Saints in the midfield. Armstrong protecting it from firstly Cancelo, then from Foden, then trying to chip it forward for Walker-Peters run outside him, but put too much underneath it, and it's gone out of play for a Manchester City throw. 90 seconds to the break, and City two adrift.
Yep, I tell you what, Saints have done well. They've hurried Manchester City, they've turned it over, and they've just got to make sure that if there's room in front of them, they travel with the ball. If there's a pass on, they play it forward. Don't be checking out, don't be coming backwards. Make sure everything you do is going forward. Then if you do lose the ball, you lose it in the opposition's half.
Still, they haven't had a shot on target, Manchester City. Grealish down by the byline, back for Sergio Gomez, left-footed ball in from him. Gundogan can take it on his chest, but Diallo stopped him being able to get a second touch to it. And then Phillips has lost out to Ward-Prowse. Laporte nipped in and won it back in the blink of an eye for Manchester City. It was vital he did. And Walker and Laporte between them and their goalkeeper will get City turned for the opportunity to drive it forward again. It's not going to be too much time added on at the end of this first half. But the fact that the fourth official, John Brooks, has come to the edge of the technical area means it's going to be at least 1 minute. Can't imagine it'll be more than that. Adam Armstrong for Saints, taking it back into City territory over on the far side. Armstrong's right over on that left-hand touchline. He's done well. Really good ball retention from the Geordie. Oh, great play. And it's taken 3 to stop him, but stop him they have. And they'll get it back for Ortega, who will clear. And we go into that one extra first half minute. Salisu volleying it forward, straight to the hands of Ortega. And Pep, with a big black raincoat on now, hands in his pockets, trudges disconsolately back to his bench. I wonder whether he's going to be ripping into him. The ball worked forward, away from Grealish. Bazunu comes out, claims, dives needlessly, but the kind of dive that's imperative at this stage of the game when you're just trying to run seconds off the clock, and he'll be able to do that. And he'll make sure his clean sheet is intact going into half-time. 2-0 Southampton.
Well, I think if Pep's going to ring the changes at half-time, I think maybe Phillips might be one of those that comes off. He just looks like he's off the pace at the moment. He looks like a player that's not had a lot of football.
Just 95 minutes in a Manchester City shirt before tonight. Here's Gomez, one last opportunity potentially for City. No time for it. And it's a big ovation from the home crowd, who are here in relatively sparse numbers tonight, bearing in mind it's a cup quarter-final, but those that have braved the elements have been enthralled by what they've seen. Southampton with 2 goals in a 6-minute spell. The first from Mara, his first for the club, and then Genepo's first of the season. A beautiful flighted lob over the stranded Ortega. Manchester City haven't got going, and a 2-0 down at half-time to the side bottom of the Premier League.
Well, here's something I never thought I'd say. Nathan Jones has outcoached Pep Guardiola. Man United will be licking their lips, rubbing their hands, laughing their heads off at some of the slapstick City defending in that first half ahead of the Manchester derby live and exclusive to Talksport on Saturday lunchtime. Join Reshmin Chowdhury from 11 a.m. for game day on Talksport. That City performance in that first half, summed up by a foul throw a few moments ago. The Saints performance summed up by the scoreline. And Stuart Pearce, even at 0-0, I jotted down in my notes, Saints bright, they've got zip in their play, they've worked hard out of possession as well. That was at 0-0. They deserve their 2-goal lead, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. I think they put more into the game. I think they've worked harder, they've hurried City, and when City have got the ball out to this left-hand side to Grealish, I don't think enough's been made of it from Grealish, you know what I mean? There's been twice he's got behind Lianco, and probably nothing really has come from it.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really drive at the fullback. Lianco's not had a great season so far for Saints. He's been the target of the Boo Boys for Southampton as well, but he's having the performance of a lifetime, but he's got an assist as well, by the way. But Grealish isn't making him do much, but it's not just Grealish. You're right about Cole Palmer the other side, but if you look at other areas of the pitch, Stuart, you've just mentioned Calvin Phillips, but Cancelo at the back, Kyle Walker at centre-half, Laporte, I'd question as well. Some decision-making at the back, Stuart, has been truly terrible. Yeah, it has. As I say, they've been caught out. It'd be interesting to have a good look at the 2 goals again, but, you know, they're sort of horror goals, really, for City, that you think, well, the first one was pretty good, but the turnover of possession cost them the goal for the first one. It was a little bit loose from both sides, basically, before Southampton capitalised on the first one. I've got to say, a wonderful finish for the first goal. The second goal, not sure about the goalkeeper's position, Age. You know, he's floating around the penalty spot on turnover of possession, and all of a sudden the ball's lofted right over him in the back of the net. But I'll be really surprised now if Pep doesn't make at least 2 changes of his ranks. Yeah, you could question City, and we have questioned City on both goals. Sekou Mara's finish for the first was absolutely brilliant, but not just the finish, Stuart. He got in ahead of Kyle Walker as well. Kyle Walker, centre-back, in a 4. Are you sure? Well, not tonight, but you've got to look and say, you know, maybe they thought it was a game that they were going to come down here and dominate the team that are lacking confidence, rock bottom of the league, fans are turning against them at St Mary's. It's been anything but, though. Well, you've got Rodri can play centre-back, Ake is a centre-back, Akanji is a centre-back. They're all sitting on the bench. The second goal, you're right about Ortega's position, that'll be questioned, but what a finish from Djenepo. That's superb, lofting it over him from distance. It was a glorious finish. It was, as I say, you know, when it first left his foot, I thought he'd put a little bit too much on it, and you thought the goalkeeper's going to have to be there, and then when you look at the goalkeeper's position, he was absolutely a mile off it. So credit to him, wonderful finish. I think with the City United derby coming up at the weekend on Talksport, Stuart, Pep Guardiola absolutely would not want to use, you know, his main men. He wouldn't want to bring on De Bruyne, he wouldn't want to bring on Bernardo Silva, wouldn't want to bring on Haaland or even Mahrez, who's in form. But do you think he'll turn? Here's a question for somebody who's managed, Stuart, a question for you. Do you turn to your subs immediately at 45, or do you turn to the 11 that have been out there and say, well, you lot have been rubbish, I'm going to give you the chance to go out there and put that right and put the pressure right back on them? You might do that for the first 10 minutes of the second half, but after that you reach into the substitutes bench, because at the moment, if something doesn't change, they're going out this cup competition. Now, you can talk all you want about a Manchester derby on Saturday. They've got a manager in Manchester City that wants to win this competition. So it's not as if he's put a team out here lacklustre that he doesn't want to win. You know full well he wants to win this competition, and he'll do everything he can to win tonight and then address Saturday when it comes. Before the game, we talked about Calvin Phillips, and I think we're all agreed he's not shone in that first half, far from it, and maybe he isn't totally match fit, whatever it might be. But Pep Guardiola basically said, and we talked about this, Calvin Phillips' long passes are brilliant, but we haven't seen any from Calvin Phillips. What's going on? No, you're right. I've not seen one tonight, to be quite honest with you. He's played safe and he's played sideways, and we're in a game now where his team are 2-0 down, and the one thing you do need is forward passes. Well, they're saying that Nathan Jones doesn't know what he's doing. Well, clearly he knew what he was doing in this first half. He had his Saints players at it as well. They need to replicate this in the league, but as it stands, they are heading through to the Carabao Cup semi-final. We've got a shock on here at St Mary's. At half-time, it is Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. You're listening to live coverage of Southampton-Manchester City on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Hi, my name is Mariam. I have used a wheelchair for about 9 years. I don't know where I would be without my amazing care worker, Jessica. Every day at home, she helps me feel more and more like myself and like I have control of my life.
My name's Jessica and I love my job working with Mariam. Every day is different. You're there for support, not just physically but mentally as well. It's a really fulfilling job and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Search Care Careers now for a job made with understanding, made with teamwork, made with care.
A million pounds. Is this a wind-up? It has to be a wind-up. Apart from the birth of my children, this is the best phone call I've ever received in my life.
This is what it sounds like when people win big with the National Lottery. Will you be next? The National Lottery. Your numbers make amazing happen. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
I need a big flavour.
A what?
I mean a favour. Sorry, I think I need a wrap. I mean nap.
Sounds like someone has flavour on the brain. Get wrapped up in flavour with McDonald's Big Flavour Wraps. The new spicy sriracha chicken one. Today's $1.99 wrap of the day. From 11am. Wrap of the day discount not available on delivery orders. Price may vary. Sriracha only available for a limited time. Subject to availability.
Carabao Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18+, please drink responsibly.
Act at your nearest store. The real deal is on right now at Arnold Clark. Build your own deal and see our terms and conditions at arnoldclark.com.
Save pounds at the pump at Morrison's with 5p off every litre of fuel when you spend £35 or more in store until Sunday 15th of January. So fill up your trolley and fill up your tank for less at Morrison's. Coupon required, excludes Morrison's daily and online. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See in store for details. Collect by 15th of January. Redeemed by 22nd of January.
LV have just made saving money on my insurance simple. With MultiCover, I get a 10% discount by combining my insurance for my family's home and cars. Now that's a handy saving. Putting them together means I have one policy and one renewal date for both. Because insurance is simple when it's me and LV.
No wonder we're rated excellent on Trustpilot. Get your MultiCover quote today at lv.com. Discount applies to home and all cars registered at the same address. Excludes optional add-ons.
All right, Twinkle Toes. It's your mate at Rift here to remind you to get your tax refund sorted.
R-I-F-T! Rift gets tax refunds for me!
Rift, we'll get you what you're owed.
In 1,000 yards, turn left. Or is it right? Maybe go straight on, past the cows. At the roundabout, keep going round and round. Hang on, where are we going again?
Without clear guidance, you can feel a little lost. But when it comes to taking your pension pot, Money Helper's PensionWise service will help you get clear about your options. If you're over 50, our free impartial guidance backed by the government will help you find a way forward.
Ooh, get you, sorting your pension out. Now go straight ahead.
Visit the Money Helper website to book your free PensionWise appointment today.
Designers and artists with broad imaginations, architects and specifiers across all of the nations. From wardrobes to beds, our quality can't be denied. One of our innovative products can even be used outside. Outdoor kitchens and games, a summer house withstands all kinds of weather all the year round. Through the heat of the summer into cold winter chill, still a half century later, Medite makes it real. Join the Medite MDF community at meditemakesitreal.com.
Carabao Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18+, please drink responsibly.
On the app, on DAB, on 1089 and 1053 medium wave, and on your smart speaker. Talksport.
Well, second half of Forest Wolves well underway at the City Ground, well underway on Talksport 2. It's Forest 1, Wolves 0. Forest heading through to the semi-finals as it stands, and Southampton heading through as it stands. And Man City with a huge amount of work to do. Saints 2, Man City 0. Second half coming up live on Talksport. Meantime, let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Nicola McGeady from Ladbrokes. What on earth is going on here?
Well, Adrian, that is a shocker. I mean, those patriotic few who backed Southampton before the kick-off at 12-1 will be rubbing their hands together. Southampton are now the 4-11 favourites to come out on top here. City, they're 15-8 to turn this around. But, you know, Southampton go into the second half as the much-deserved leaders here, and we just didn't expect that. We do make them 4-11, big favourites to come out and score the third goal. That is City, but they've had no shots on target yet. It's 19-4. That the score remains the same, but I think we're going to see more goals here. 2-2 is attracting support 90 minutes at 130, while Alvarez, he's 3-1 to score next. But yeah, I don't think that 9-0 is going to be happening now, Adrian.
Well, definitely can't. Well, maybe a 9-0 to Southampton, the way things are going. Man City haven't even had a shot on target. Extraordinary stuff. Nicola, thank you very much. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus. begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Well, it's almost a state of shock for some of these Southampton fans in this stadium. They lead by 2-0. Jim Proudfoot, you in shock as well?
I've just been speaking to a Southampton fan that I know. He certainly is in shock. He couldn't believe it. He only came here under sufferance tonight, really, because he was given a free ticket. And his words to me, I can't believe what I've seen. Pep's going to make changes. I'm expecting 3. That Palmer and Walker will come off, and that maybe Sergio Gomez will come off as well. Ake, De Bruyne and Akanji to come on. It's unconfirmed, but potential triple change for Manchester City imminent.
We will bring you those subs as and when we know, when the players emerge for the second half. But so many Saints fans in here enjoying what they're seeing, but they can't believe what they're seeing. Tomorrow night on Talksport, it's exclusive, it's Premier League. It's a cracking West London derby. It's Fulham taking on Chelsea. Hugh Wozencroft will be your host. Sam Matterface and Leanne Sanderson on commentary duty at Craven Cottage for what should be a cracker. Hugh's in charge again Friday night. It's Aston Villa Leeds in the Premier League. A big game down at the bottom. Hugh, your host, Clive Tilsley, and the former England striker Dean Ashton on commentary duty. And then game day is back 11 a.m. on Saturday on Talksport. We've got the Manchester derby first of all, United against City, with Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce and Mickey Gray all on commentary duty for that one. Rishman Chowdhury will be your host from 11. Loads of build-up with some quality interviews. We'll have an interview with James Ward-Prowse as well, the Southampton captain. That's on game day on Saturday from 11, and that's ahead of Everton against Southampton, which is live and exclusive and only on Talksport 2, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. What a massive game that is down at the bottom. Ian Danter and Perry Groves, your commentary duo for that one. I'll be at Wolves West Ham, another big game down at the bottom of the table, to bring you the goals as they go in, and we'll take you around the grounds as well on Game Day Live on Talksport. Some big games. Forest take on Leicester, Brighton, Liverpool, and the show coming to you, as I say, from Molineux for Wolves against West Ham United. On Sunday, we focus on the WSL, Arsenal, Chelsea at midday, then Manchester United, Liverpool just after 2 o'clock. Both of those live, the first on Talksport, the second on Talksport 2. But Manchester City emerge, and Jim Proudfoot is right. There are going to be changes for Manchester City. The officials on their way out as well. Still waiting for Southampton to make their way out of the tunnel. Maybe they're hoping that it's full-time rather than just half-time. In the other game, live on Talksport 2, it's Nottingham Forest 1, Wolves 0. Willy Boly in the first half against his old club. They're 56 minutes into that one, live on Talksport 2. To get Talksport 2, just tell your smart speaker to play it, or download the Talksport app. That's the best advice. And you can swipe between the two stations, Talksport and Talksport 2, easily, and go from game to game. And there's all sorts of podcasts available on the Talksport app as well. And in the middle of the home screen, down at the bottom, live games tab, you'll find out what commentaries are forthcoming on Talksport. Big cheer for the Saints players on their way out. A City going to get back in this, so they're even going to have a shot on target. It's Southampton 2, Manchester City 0, Carabao Cup quarter-final. Here's your commentary team, a League Cup winner twice Stuart Pearce alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Well, let's confirm those Manchester City changes then. Firstly, Kyle Walker taken off and Akanji replaces him at centre-half. Ake on for Gomez at left-back. Cole Palmer has also been withdrawn and Kevin De Bruyne is on. So Phil Foden has moved out to the right of the front three for Manchester City, having played the right of the midfield three in the first half. We're back underway. I'll go through the two teams for you in a moment. Gundogan out to Ake, first touch for him. City in their change kit of predominantly light yellow, but plenty of very dark green, black trim. And they're kicking from left to right, defending the chapel end here at St Mary's in this second half. Trailing by 2-0. Southampton in their traditional predominantly white shirts with the red central vertical band and black shorts. Southampton lining up, Bazunu in goal, Lianco, Chaladasar, Salisu and Walker-Peters, Lavia and Diallo, Genepo, Ward-Prowse and Armstrong and Mara. City in possession, wonderful through ball, Alvarez is in and drags it wide. De Bruyne working his magic 50 seconds after coming on. Great ball down the inside right channel. Alvarez attacking it, ran inside the penalty area, fired it early across Bazunu, but a yard wide.
Well, I've got to say, great ball, good run, onside. I don't know why he's took the shot as early as he actually has. Once he gets in there, I think he can advance further. He's took the shot probably from about 17 metres on the angle. I think he can go a bit tighter, make the goalkeeper make a decision.
City now lining up Ortega in goal. The back four is Cancelo, Akanji, Laporte and Ake. Phillips still there anchoring the midfield, either side of him Gundogan and De Bruyne. And the front three is now Foden, Alvarez and Grealish. So they brought on some of the big hitters, including Kevin De Bruyne, who's gone 11 without a goal for club and country. A run that stretches back to the winner at Leicester back in October, but he's another that has won this competition 4 times, played in all 4 of those most recent finals. Chaladasar having to backpedal as the ball was flicked on through the midfield. Grealish chased after it, and it was well cleared by the Croatian, the Southampton side from Marseille on the last deadline day. If you're just joining us, they've announced and paraded new signing Charlie Alcaraz, Carlos Alcaraz, known as Charlie, who's signed from Racing in his native Argentina. A midfielder, just 20 years of age. He's arrived in a £12 million deal, which has taken Southampton spending over £100 million since the end of last season. Some of that money spent on this man. Lavia forward towards Mara, poked away from him by the retreating Laporte. Then De Bruyne again, inch perfect forward towards Gundogan. Gundogan trying to get Alvarez in between Walker-Peters and Salisu, who just for a moment looked as though they got themselves a little bit confused and the wires were crossed. That wasn't the case. Lavia helps it on as the ball is cleared. Armstrong couldn't go for it, he'd have been offside. Phillips hooks it forward. Should be easy for Lianco to deal with. He's headed it away from Alvarez's run, and Chaladasar mops up. And Lavia's got it in the midfield now on the edge of the centre circle. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. The rain, which was ferocious towards the end of the first half, has largely abated. Still coming down a little. Diallo's got the ball in the midfield for Southampton. They're kicking from right to left in this second half, and they work it out to the far touchline there right, with Genepo the score of the second goal in possession. Sladey back for Lianco. Lianco to Diallo. And Diallo square to his left-hand side. An opportunity here for Kyle Walker-Peters to be able to bring it forward. He'll try and take on Foden, and still he goes. Cancelo doubles up, but they haven't got it away. Salisu firing it in. Armstrong making something happen. Lavia urged to shoot. Takes a touch. Trying to get himself into a central position. Can't get the shot in. Finds Lianco. He's driven it in. They're too far ahead of Ward-Prowse. It goes out of play for a goal kick to Manchester City, who trail by 2-0.
Yeah, I think the difference in the sides, Southampton are happy to pop the ball in the box, even in areas where you think is a cross or a diagonal ball on or not, and it's caused the odd problem. Manchester City have turned that opportunity down, I think, and certainly Palmer has paid the price for that. I think he was probably more critical than most.
Here's Armstrong for Southampton, who will feel if they go 3-0 up, they've got an outstanding chance. It won't happen from here. The Seen the Geordie Draghi shot wide of the near post. And Ortega himself acts as ball boy, clambering over the hoardings and away from a steward. Spots the match ball down, plays it out towards Akanji, and City will turn and play.
Just thinking, Jim, he's made 3 substitutions at half-time. 2 of those are defenders, you know, and you think if you're chasing the game, obviously he's desperate to win it, because one of those substitutions was De Bruyne, an individual where you're thinking, I need him fit for Saturday, definitely going to Old Trafford, but 2 of those were defensive players, and you think he's obviously not too happy with what his team were doing defensively.
And one of those defenders that he has brought on is Nathan Ake, who scored against Liverpool in the last round. He's got it now. Played into the feet of Gundogan. Back for Ake. Now to Laporte. Nottingham Forest, a goal up against Wolves. That's live over on Talksport 2 right now. Is it going to be Forest and Southampton who join Newcastle and Manchester United from yesterday? The Forest game is 13 minutes ahead of this one. They're 20 minutes into the second half. Here's Aymeric Laporte. Forward to halfway. De Bruyne almost on the centre spot as he pokes it briskly back for Calvin Phillips. Gundogan opening up the body, then turns away and plays it back to his left for Ake. Ake to Laporte again. And Laporte just scuffs it forward over the halfway line towards Akanji. Akanji to Foden. Foden coming inside to Cancelo. Cancelo to Laporte. And now played forward again towards Nathan Ake. Ake's 10 yards inside the Southampton half as he lays it back for Calvin Phillips. Phillips working it out to the Manchester City left-hand side for Grealish. City stringing the passes together. That Phil Foden goal they scored at the weekend was an absolute work of art. Nearly every City player involved, stringing the passes together right across the pitch, the full width and full length of the pitch. This move, similar to start with, although Southampton have had a couple of touches now, and Lavia are getting it away. City have it back. Ake taking the more direct route towards the edge of the penalty area. Salisu couldn't quite climb his jump correctly to get power in the defensive header. It falls for De Bruyne. Foden hooks it in, but cleared, and then Ward-Prowse will be able to help it further away. A goal in the other game. Wolves have equalised at Forest. Raul Jimenez. And it's Forest 1, Wolves 1. Here's Ilkay Gundogan for Nathan Ake. Ake out towards Grealish. Grealish level the edge of the penalty area. City trailing by 2-0 here on Talksport. De Bruyne urged to shoot, fires it in, hits Salisu, not on the arm, and it's cleared. City picking up again with Cancelo. They are slowly beginning to turn the screw, although still haven't forced Bazunu into a save. But there's more of a zip about the passing. There's a better tempo about it. It's slightly further up the pitch as well. Phillips back for Laporte, now towards Akanji. There seems to be a better balance about Manchester City in this second half.
Well, and more importantly, De Bruyne's on the pitch, who you know can find a pass because he's demonstrated that already.
And it didn't take him long to make an impact, but Alvarez couldn't make the most of the chance ahead of him. Manchester City winning 4-1 here in the FA Cup quarter-finals last season. De Bruyne amongst the goal scorers, so is this man Phil Foden. Foden pulling it back, De Bruyne right-hand side of the area, improvising a ball in. Oh, Bazunu stumbled, but there was no clean contact from a City player, and he was able to, he didn't quite lose his balance and go to ground, but he was able to just collect himself and then collect the ball about a second later. And Southampton maybe just slightly got away with one there. 9 into the second half, Southampton 2, Manchester City now.
Yeah, it's my whole point there about sometimes you've just got to toss the ball into the box, because on that occasion there was 2 City forwards against 4 defenders for Southampton, but still that caused chaos within the box.
Jellibo has gone down injured over on the far touchline, and Nathan Jones was very animated in trying to get some of his substitutes to quickly make their way down to the technical area so changes could be made. And it looks as though Southampton might be poised to make a triple change of their own. Che Adams is down there. He's one of the players that is getting ready. Jellibo is down over on the far side. I haven't seen a replay of the incident, but he's down holding his face.
Yeah, there was a coming together between him and Grealish. Well, certainly Grealish was stood next to him when he collapsed to the floor, and he seems to be holding his face. So Southampton getting Adams ready.
Is it just going to be the one for now, or are they going to be making further changes? Jenipo still down over on that far touchline, receiving some treatment. Possession in the second half has actually been less marked for Manchester City, albeit that it's felt as though they've been much more purposeful. They're still not out of this. I mean, that goes without saying, with 35 minutes to go, only 2 goals adrift. Anybody's going to be able to come back from this kind of position. It is they. They've certainly got enough in the tank, and they're going to be bringing the biggest of the big hitters on in a moment. Haaland is getting ready.
Well, for anyone who wasn't sure whether Pep Guardiola takes this competition seriously, you've only got to look at his substitutions tonight when he's chasing the game. He's quite happy to go out and mix and match his side slightly, but make no mistake, he wants to win this competition. Jim, we've been sat at Wembley and you've seen some of the celebrations, and you know, with the staff and everyone, it shows you how much he wants to. Oh, he's a winning machine, the fella.
Silverware is silverware when it comes down to it, and having success in February has often been the springboard for further success later on in this season. City make a change, off comes Grealish, on to big acclaim from the travelling support comes Haaland. He's only played 1 League Cup tie in his career, scored in it of course, that was against Liverpool. 26 goals in his last 19 games, and he is on. Jenipo can't continue. Perrault is on for him. Shea Adams hasn't come on yet. I think he will be coming on in a moment. It's an interesting change with Perrault coming on. Southampton are going to go to a back 5 now. Perrault will play at left back. Walker-Peters has gone across to right back. And Lianco, Chaladasar and Salisu will play as 3 centre halves. So Southampton changing the shape. They'll go 5-3-2. Adam Armstrong, one of the 2, flagged offside. And it's a free kick that will be taken by Manchester City. But the big man's on.
Yeah, they certainly having a blanket 5 at the back now, Southampton. What that'll do, how much that brings Manchester City onto them, which certainly they'll have opportunities to get up in advanced areas, and then from there, what's the cutting edge like against a blanket 5-man defence?
Ball play for by Akanji. Out comes Bazunu and catches it ahead of Alvarez. Well, Southampton, since Nathan Jones has been at the club, that was told earlier, they've had 14 changes of formation within his 6 games in charge. So they have played just about everything. They've played with the back 3 in matches at Liverpool, here against Lincoln, at Fulham, here against Nottingham Forest as well in a home defeat. But it is very much a back 5 that they have got now. Walker-Peters on the right-hand side of that back 5, doing well, working it forward. Ward-Prowse scooping it under pressure from Phillips, back over towards the right, and it hit the City man and goes out of play for a throw that will be taken midway inside the Manchester City half. 13 gone in the second period. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. And the ovation you hear is for Jenipo, able to walk back round, no problems. It looks as though he's okay after that bang that he got to the face. He has been replaced, and he's made his way around from the far touchline to this near side to the Southampton bench. Lianco in possession. Southampton drive it forward, but it's an aimless ball. Laporte's going to be able to control it easily. You're listening to Southampton against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. It's live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. City have half an hour to score the 2 they need as a minimum to get this to penalties.
I'll tell you what, the difference it makes with a change of goalkeeper for Manchester City. You know, you come up against Ederson, and all of a sudden he can balloon that ball, he can hit it the length of the pitch. It changes the whole dynamic of your press.
Yeah, Ortega hasn't got that. Not yet anyway. Here's Akanji down for Joao Cancelo. Cancelo to De Bruyne. Cancelo to Haaland. Haaland coming to meet it. His first match at St Mary's, but knocked away by Chaladasar. And then Diallo can play it out wide towards the right-hand side for Walker-Peters. Ake is going with him. Walker-Peters checking. trying to look for support. City very quickly flooded their own penalty area. Oh, good one too. Walker-Peters can't get it in, too high for Armstrong, not deep enough for Mara, and volleyed away by João Cancelo, then headed clear as Southampton try to work it back to the edge of the penalty area. They can get it forward towards Perrault, who's got a decent left-footed delivery, doesn't get the chance this time because Cancelo is in there with a strong block challenge, and it goes out of play for a Southampton throw.
Got to say, top quality play there by Walker-Peters. It was only the pace of Aki that stayed with him, otherwise he's in on goal. And once he got in that advanced area, got into the box, showed great composure to just turn and play one of his teammates in.
Southampton have another player down injured. It's Lavia in the midfield. Shea Adams is going to be coming on, I don't think for Lavia. Lavia himself is going to be replaced by El Yunusi. So it's a double change now for Southampton. Adams and El Yunusi, the players that are coming on. Romeo Lavia, the Belgian, one of those to make way. And he really does look as though he's got a great future ahead of him. Fantastic football education in the Manchester City Academy before moving here. And Mara will be replaced by Adams, a straight swap up front. Che Adams, the man who's the leading scorer in this competition this season. 4 goals in his 2 League Cup ties. He's got a wonderful record in the League Cup. He's played 13 League Cup ties in his career. He scored 10. His first ever senior goals came in a semi-final for Sheffield United against Tottenham. You might remember a few years ago at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United, a championship club before they'd gone up back then, and he came off the bench and scored twice in 2 minutes. Only about the 4th game of his career. And Shea Adams is on now. So Perrault will prepare to take this throw on the Southampton left. 10 yards from the corner flag. Just waiting for a few options. One of them is El Yunusi. First touch from him. Second, poking a right foot high up in the air to try and steer it away from Akanji. City got it clear. Chalet Assar. Teleyanko under pressure from Haaland. Rodri's going to be coming on, so another one of Manchester City's big hitters will be the last change, and it's going to be made in a moment. So with only 62 minutes on the clock, Pep will have played his hand. Kanji gets it back for Ortega. Ortega fires it out to the left for Nathan Ake, and Ake will bring it forward. He was caught there by Ward-Prowse. It's a free kick to Manchester City on halfway, and they'll make the change. Phillips coming off. Get the impression it's probably predetermined to get an hour, and Rodri's on for it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think Pep would have liked to have done it in this scenario on this scoreline, though, Jim. That's the one thing.
And the scenario being that City, with 62 minutes gone, find themselves 2-0 down and still waiting for their first shot on target all night. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. Gundogan playing it back to Ake. Ake for Laporte, across towards Akanji. City playing with the defence really stretched wide. Cancelo to Rodri again. Rodri turning it back inside his own half for Akanji, and now to Laporte, who will bring it forward into the centre circle and over the halfway line. Not the perfect warm-up this for the Manchester derby. You can hear it. 12:30 it kicks off. Saturday lunchtime. Mickey Gray alongside Stuart and Sam Matterface with the call. 11 o'clock. Game Day Live starts. The award-winning Game Day Live on Talksport this coming Saturday. Southampton also in action live on Talksport 2 this coming Saturday. 3 o'clock there at Everton. We've got both of those games live for you. And more live Premier League action tomorrow as the Premier League resumes with Fulham against Chelsea. Graham Potter and come under pressure for the West London derby tomorrow, and then Friday Villa Leeds. Both of those games kick off at 8, and they're both exclusive to national radio on Talksport. So we've got it all covered for you, coming your way across the network this week. Plenty for Manchester City fans to react to tonight, and you can do so here on Talksport with Jason Cundy and Jermaine Pennant. I'll take your calls after the game. Here's Adam Armstrong for Southampton on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He's driven it into Laporte, whose reaction was one of venom to the assistant referee on the far side. He clearly felt that his clearance hit Armstrong and went back out of play for what should have been a City throw. But it is a Southampton throw over on that far side. And they've nearly got halfway through this second half without conceding. Almost halfway from half-time to full-time with a 2-goal lead still intact.
I think more importantly, Jim, they've not looked like conceding, have they? I mean, City haven't. They normally, when they're chasing games, get in a rhythm.
Not so far today. El Yunusi trying to bring it forward. Perrault has given it away, though. And Gundogan plays it forward, but Diallo is very quickly there to win it back. El Yunusi turning, scooping it. Adams, left-hand side of the penalty area. High ball in. Oh, Walker-Peters is unmarked. Difficult for him to bring it down, but he has brought it down. Ake's back goal side. He tried to drive it in across the edge of the 6-yard box. It was cleared. Gets a second go, and when he does fire it in, it's not too far ahead of Che Adams, but he couldn't quite stretch his right leg out far enough to tap it in.
Yeah, I think he's had a really solid game tonight. I think he dealt with Palmer very well in the first half, and in the second half he's doing his defensive chores, but on top of that he's got forward on a couple of good occasions.
2-0 to Southampton. Rodri bringing it forward. El Yunusi's won it back, goes to the ground. Referee acknowledging the foul and playing the advantage. It's a City side that have only lost 3 of their last 31 games in all competitions. A couple of those to Liverpool, 1 in the league and 1 in the Community Shield. They lost at home to Brentford in the last game before the World Cup, but that's been it. Those are the only defeats they've suffered. And Pep hasn't lost a game in regulation time in this competition for 6 seasons. Is it going to happen tonight? We'll know in about half an hour's time. Salis has put it out of play. It's a throw which will be taken on the Manchester City right by Joao Cancelo, and they have got Haaland on, they've got De Bruyne on, they've got Rodri on, but they still are needing inspiration. Armstrong, El Yunusi, given a shove by Cancelo, free kick to Southampton, 20 yards in Manchester City territory.
Well, I never thought I'd say this about City, but isn't there any fluency about their game at the moment, is it? It's not a build-up of pressure and you think, oh, a goal's coming any minute. If City score a goal, it'll come totally out of the blue and not a build-up of pressure.
So what happens when you're in a mindset, as the City players perhaps are tonight, they know that they're having a collective off night. How easy is it to recapture your standards, to think, OK, we know what we're doing wrong, and being able to rectify it? Or sometimes you just find yourself in a malaise and you're kind of in a long dark tunnel and there's no way out of it?
Yeah, I think they're more in the latter, to be honest with you. And Southampton have been brilliant. They've just knocked them out of their stride and won and been niggly with little challenges.
Here's Ward-Prowse with this free kick, deep towards the far post. Chaladasar knocking it back in, away by Rodri. Brought down by Lianco, but away by Ake. And then Lianco somehow out of nothing's won it back. And will try and take it to the byline. It's cleared, hit Akanji, falls for De Bruyne. De Bruyne, never one to waste the pass, plays it forward through the midfield. City on the front foot very quickly. Gundogan getting it forward. Julian Alvarez has drifted out to the right. Haaland's making his way forward. Foden's there, edge of the penalty area as well. Southampton was 7 back behind the ball, but Gundogan's got it. Gundogan turning, trying to get away from El Yunusi. Now Perrault putting the pressure on Cancelo. And Southampton have done well. They've got everybody back behind the ball as it finds Ake. Ake goes to his left-hand side. De Bruyne driving to the left-hand side of the area. Foden getting it in. Haaland improvising. He's put it over the bar. It's outrageous he even got an attempt in.
Well, I didn't know a human being could get their leg up that high, to be fair. Apart from yourself, Jim. Incredible. As I say, it was behind him. It's a sort of semi-hitch kick. Wow. And to get it in a forward momentum took some doing.
Well, it was like something from the Moulin Rouge and the Can-Can dancer. It's come behind him. It's 2 yards behind him. And he's not broken his stride. All he's done is flick out a long left leg. And how he's even got it as close as he has, I don't know. But he was still off target. And the lead is still 2.
Some say it was a bit like the boy Durham on the dance floor, you know, but I've not actually seen it. It's only the rumour that I hear.
45 years ago, I understand, the last time that that kind of move was seen.
In his mid-40s then, are you saying?
Well, early 40s. Let's not exaggerate. Here's Ake, back for Laporte. Now Laporte towards Akanji. Akanji bringing it into Southampton territory for Joao Cancelo. He's given it away, but Southampton gave it away just as quickly. Diallo presented with the opportunity, flicked it forward. It ends up bundling off a City player and going out for a throw. El Yunusi will come across to the touchline and receive a note from one of the Southampton coaching staff. I don't think he can read it because he looked at it, did a massive double take, and then with a puzzled and furrowed brow looked back at the aforementioned member of the coaching staff. But El Yunusi plays it in here. Ward-Prowse for Walker Peters. Walker Peters edge of the penalty area, tries to get a right-footed shot in. It's Laporte, goes out of play for a throw. A third Southampton goal, and you'd feel it's all over at 2-0 with the weapons that City have in their arsenal with 20 minutes to go. It feels as though they're still very much in it. But it's going to be dramatic if they can manoeuvre themselves through to the last 4 from here. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0, as it has been for the last 40 minutes or so.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not seeing where a goal's coming from City, if I'm being honest with you. You know full well they've got the capabilities to score out of absolutely nothing, but at the moment we're seeing no build-up at all from them.
Haaland has done well. City making runs past him, and it's fired towards the centre circle, and now Haaland will sprint forward, the ball going out towards De Bruyne, first time in from him. Haaland made the run, Bazunu came out scrambling, got down early bravely and got the ball into his hands.
Well, I've got a feeling the City players probably heard my words just then. They went through the gears, the passing was slick, the passing was brilliant, ball into the box, and the goalkeeper Bazunu has done really well in cutting that ball out, otherwise it's a tap in for Haaland.
Last time Manchester City lost the League Cup quarter-final was a defeat at home to Spurs 15 years ago. Southampton, who've only won 1 of their last 8 home games in all competitions, and come from behind victory against third-tier Lincoln. Well, they lead by 2 goals to 0. Only beaten 1 Premier League side here this season, that was Chelsea. Deserved victory that night back in August in the late days of Thomas Tuchel's reign. Joao Cancelo back for Akanji. Akanji to Laporte. Laporte to Ake. Gundogan waiting for it. Foden couldn't find him. And Lianco belying his Brazilian roots with kind of agricultural Wessex League clearance that you might expect in non-league circles round here. And has looked for Rosette and Son. He's gone out of play for a throw. Throw taken quickly by Manchester City. 18 to go. 20% of the game left. 2-0 Southampton lead it. Diallo is in, and in a little bit too vigorously. He's fouled Rodri. Adam Armstrong has stopped the free kick being taken quickly. I thought that would have been an obligatory yellow card, really, just flicking it away after Rodri had spotted it down. Word from Peter Banks, nothing more than that. Free kick taken and worked out to Foden on the City left, the far side. City attacking the end of the ground in which their travelling support still vociferous, stationed. But Cancelo comes back from an offside position here. And Southampton have another free kick. And the game's slowly but surely running away from Manchester City here.
It is, as I say, the Saints look very, very comfortable in this second half. They've been under less pressure the second half than they probably have in the first half, apart from probably 2 instances, and both of those involved De Bruyne.
What do they need to do to get him onto the ball more? How do they get Foden more heavily involved? Because he at times has been a peripheral figure. Adams flicking it on. Armstrong trying to take it inside the penalty area. Laporte got it away to stop that happening, but Perrault will pick it up. Perrault's ball inside the penalty area is cleared easily by Gundogan. Then De Bruyne back for Rodri, over the top for Haaland, and headed away by Chalobah Sarr.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. As I say, Southampton are doing everything. They're getting a good shape about what they're doing. They're not letting City be comfortable on the ball. They're winning challenges. Any loose passes, they're going in. Got a situation there. The ball's fell between. It was nowhere near Ward-Prowse getting there before Ake. And he's got there late, but he's hounding him down. And he's given a free kick away, but he's broke the game up with it.
2-0 Southampton lead here, 1-1 in the other game. It's live right now over on Talksport 2 with 4 minutes to go between Forest and Wolves. Gundogan to Foden, to Gundogan again. Nathan Ake, midway between the left-hand touchline and the left-hand side of the penalty area. Back for Gundogan, Foden, back out to Ake, hooked in, Haaland prowling, knocked away by Chaladasar. They all turned and appealed to the assistant referee that the flag should have come up. They didn't. And City in the next phase of play will try and work it in again. Gundogan, back out for Ake. Ake strolling in off that left flank. So strolling in terms of pace, but with purpose. Looking for options, always thinking, always assessing the situation. And City go back to Ortega in a bit of keep possession. They have kept it comfortably enough. And Laporte goes back out for Ake again on the far touchline. Playing a few South Coast games in his Bournemouth days against Saints. Here's Akanji. Akanji over the halfway line down towards Joao Cancelo. De Bruyne makes the run. He tried to find him. It's hit Perrault, gone out of play. A throw which will be taken by Manchester City on the right. 15 to go. Saints 2, City 0 on Talksport. Here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, you know, you're looking at Nathan Jones down there. There's not a manager that's panicking. He's quite confident within the work that his team are doing. His body language suggesting he's happy with the way his team are playing. He's happy that his team are not going to concede a goal tonight, let alone get knocked out of cup competition at this moment.
Well, Bazunu in goal for Saints has played 20 games for the club. He's only ever kept one clean sheet, and that was at Bournemouth back in November. Foden's ball in. Salisu, it took a lively bounce in front of him. He got it up in the air. Haaland trying to bring it down. Gundogan makes his way forward. Southampton can clear again. El Yunusi doing well. Good quick footwork from him. Working it wide to his right for Ward-Prowse. Out from him to Shea Adams. Back towards Ward-Prowse, but too much gas on that. And City win it back. And it was a needless concession. Oh, good ball forward. Haaland chasing after it. Bazunu saw the danger and clears. Low along the ground. Not the best clearance, but he ended up finding halfway. And a teammate in El Yunusi. And El Yunusi with a little trick has beaten Cancelo. And he's played it across the edge of the area for Armstrong. And now there's space for Carl Walker-Peters on the Southampton right. 3 to Matt if he needs. Walker-Peters plays it back. Ward-Prowse, fire deflection. Shea Adams is offside. It doesn't count. Flag up. And it remains 2-0.
Yeah, really good play there. Once again, Walker-Peters, fantastic. Driving forward on the right-hand side. I've been really impressed with him tonight.
Cancelo for Alvarez. Alvarez taking on Perrault. Back from him to Rodri. 13 minutes to go. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0. Foden, De Bruyne. Back for Foden against, had to put the brakes on to make sure he didn't run past it. Gundogan, good turn, getting away from Diallo. Foden back for Gundogan again, getting to the byline, playing it in. Alvarez didn't get a hold of it. He's only 4 yards out, he's poked it towards goal, and Bazunu almost in slow motion can dive on it and make the save.
I think we've just seen a defining moment of the game there. The ball swept from one end, goal disallowed for Southampton, and Gundogan's done brilliantly, pulling the ball across the 6-yard box. And just couldn't get his foot on it hard enough to force it past Bazunu.
13 to go. Manchester City running out of time, trying to create chances. Is that their first shot on target of the game? It was. And it's taken them 78 minutes. Foden bringing it forward again. 4 Southampton players converged on him. They won it back. They then work it forward quickly, maybe a little bit too quickly. Maybe a first sign of a little bit of panic seeping through. Southampton have still got change left. Orsic is going to be coming on. In fact, they've got 2 changes left. One juncture at which to make them. And Mislav Orsic is going to be coming on in a moment. Diallo, did he get a yellow card for that challenge? I think
yes,
he did. It was Foden
did.
that he's brought down.
Yeah, as I say, it's a poor challenge. It's enabled Southampton to get back and draw that line across their 18-yard box. And it might actually be a good game for Orsic, actually. Games like this with teams coming on to him, he's counter-attack threat and a little bit of pace and ability that he's got. Might just play into Southampton's hands.
Has played against City before in the Champions League. For Dinamo Zagreb, for whom Southampton paid 8 million for him, and to whom they paid 8 million for him. Well, what can De Bruyne muster from here? He's actually run over this free kick. Foden takes it. It's headed away. Out of the right-hand side of the City penalty area where Alvarez just knocks it down. Rodri goes down, looking for a free kick maybe. That's how the assistant referee saw it. Adams clears it for Southampton. Back it'll come again. Cancelo, De Bruyne, a nice take. Flick forward into space. Alvarez attacking that space. Salisu's gone with him. In front of a sea of sky blue, the City fans at that end of the ground. And the City man goes down. Perrault whacks it clear. No foul. And Alvarez still down, holding his head, and play will stop, and 3 City players race over to Peter Banks to complain about the decision. 10 to go. There's going to be a fair bit of stoppage time to be added on. So maybe 15 minutes for Manchester City to score at least 2. 2 would get it to penalties. If they score 3 unanswered goals from here, it would be one of their greatest League Cup wins for many, many years. And Alvarez back on his feet without the need for treatment, and play will resume with a drop ball. Now Peter Banks will take it way back into Manchester City territory and present the ball to Akanji. We're back underway in the 81st minute, 2-0.
Yeah, I think he's had a tough game tonight, Alvarez. I don't think he's contributed a great deal. Probably things have certainly improved since Haaland's come on.
Foden, Ake, Lianco leaning into him very strongly, but legitimately according to the referee, and then clearing towards halfway. They're playing 6 minutes of added time in the other game, and they played half of those 6, and it's still Forest 1, Wolves 1. It is live for you on Talksport 2, the ensuing penalty shootout, if it goes that way, looks as though it's going to. Live on Talksport 2 shortly. Still playing though there. Here, 2-0, 9 to go of normal time. Foden back for Gundogan. Manchester City with so much work to do. Rodri, the Kevin De Bruyne, left-footed ball straight inside the penalty area, half cleared. It's Ake teasing it back in. So many City players for, including Haaland. A little flick header from Rodri on the edge of the area, then a bit of ball juggling, then a header into space, and Bazunu comes and gets into that space first, makes the save, and Southampton withstand another phase of Manchester City attack.
This is something I don't think City did in the first half when they had ready the opportunities to put the ball in the box. They turned it down. Even on those occasions when City are popping the ball in the box, in the danger zone, creating chaos, problems occur.
Bazunu clears. Orsic will be on in the next break in play for Southampton. He's coming on his own, so it's going to be their final change. Ball coming off Armstrong. And now the change will be made. It is Adam Armstrong that will come off. And he's done well tonight, and people talk about his numbers. It's his 50th Saints game. He's only scored 4 goals, and bearing in mind the position he plays and the fact that one of those came on his debut, people have found that as a stick to criticise Adam Armstrong with. But his work rate off the ball is prodigious. As a defensive forward, he's outstanding.
I tell you what, he's led the line brilliantly today, hustling and bustling the Manchester City defenders, especially in this second half. He's been very, very good.
So Orsic is on to replace him, and he's playing kind of as a second striker off Che Adams at the moment. Orsic, who has scored a Champions League hat-trick against Atalanta, a superb Europa League hat-trick against Tottenham, a man that scored the winner in the third place playoff in the World Cup in his last appearance. And he's on now. De Bruyne playing it forward. Now Salisu gets it off the island, away from Cancelo. It's a throw which will be taken by Manchester City. 7 to go. Southampton 2, City 0. The ovations from the Southampton fans around us for Adam Armstrong as he comes back to the dugout. Here's Akanji. Akanji back towards Laporte. Nathan Jones still directing the traffic from the edge of the technical area. Ake back out towards Foden. Foden back for Ake again. It's a night where premium goal scoring opportunities have been few and far between. Southampton have taken 2, and City, according to the official stats, still haven't had a shot on target. The Alvarez scuffed effort, not deemed to be worthy of a shot on target. Akanji back for Laporte, and Laporte will play it over the halfway line towards Ake. 6 to go. Ake with a switch of play, an aerial ball out towards Joao Cancelo. It didn't get there. Perrault heading it away. Cancelo wins the second ball though. De Bruyne to Rodri. Rodri venturing forward, right-footed ball hooked in. Haaland made a near post run, it went over his head. And Lianco sweeps up behind him and plays it down towards the touchline. Acrobatic jump from Cancelo. It's a heavy fall, but he did well to get possession back from Manchester City. He's straight back on his feet. Akanji in danger almost of tackling himself on the near touchline, but got his feet adjusted in time under pressure from Adams. Back for the goalkeeper. Orsic puts the pressure on both Ortega and De Bruyne, who dropped deep, and City work it from that central area out towards the right. Akanji finding himself almost as a right back here in a lopsided City formation. 5 left.
I just get the impression from City, and I might eat my words very shortly, they've almost given up on this game a little bit.
Cancelo loses out, and Perrault puts it out. Throw to Manchester City on the right. Yeah, they're waiting for something to happen. It's not a panic-stricken performance as it might be if they were 2 down in the Champions League tie, is it?
No, definitely isn't that. They've not chased the game at all.
Another foul throw. Saw one in the first half from Gomez and one from Cancelo now. And Southampton will take a throw, and they're in absolutely no hurry to take it. It has gone to penalties at the City ground. Forest against Wolves 1-1 after 90 minutes. Willy Bolly's opener, counted out the second half by Raul Jimenez. It's going to penalties there for the right to get into the semi-finals. And that penalty shootout is live for you on Talksport 2 in a moment. Ball headed for by Laporte. Manchester City trailing 2-0 here at St Mary's. 2 goals in a 6-minute spell, just leading up to the half-hour mark. One from Marat, one from Genepo. And it's a lead that has never looked particularly fragile, to the credit of Southampton and the chagrin of Pep Guardiola and the City supporters away to the right-hand side, who you sense have now accepted their fate. Next up, Manchester Derby at Old Trafford. 12:30 kickoff Saturday. It's live on Talksport. Here's Foden. Foden on the edge of the centre circle, bringing it forward for Manchester City. Still plenty of dynamism on the pitch for City if they could create something. Roderick finding Cancelo. You certainly wouldn't put it past them after everything they've achieved over the last few years. De Bruyne running towards the edge of the penalty area. Whacks the ball across the edge of the box for Ake. An intelligent pass, albeit overhit. Ake, plenty of time to be able to field it and keep City going. Now goes back for Laporte. He's 20 yards outside the Southampton penalty area. Halves that gap before knocking it in. Poor delivery. Lianco stoops and heads clear. Back from Rodri to Laporte to Akanji. And Akanji will turn. Left-footed ball forward. De Bruyne. Adams faces him up. De Bruyne to his right for Cancelo. Right-footed, hooked in, deep towards the far post. Another defensive header from Lianco. Got it away. Phil Foden clipping it back in. And Chaladasar clears that one. Diallo helps it further clear. Only to the edge of the box. Haaland jumped up, straight ball played forward, didn't really make any contact, and couldn't steer it wide of Bazunu, who pounces on the ball very gratefully. And will be in the 89th minute of the game by the time he's got it upfield.
Yeah, they're definitely not turning the opportunity down now to put the ball in the box, that is for sure. And on that occasion, Lianco's just skimmed off the top of his head, and Bazunu was grateful that it did. Took Haaland out the equation.
Manchester United through, Newcastle through, Southampton on the verge of joining them. Southampton, who haven't won a major honour since 1976. Newcastle haven't won a domestic honour, a major domestic honour, since 1955. Forest or Wolves will be the other name in that last 4. Manchester United will be overwhelming favourites, but there'll be a few that will eye up this situation with bated breath. Southampton get it away with Chaladasar. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. Good ball played forward. Southampton on the counter-attack with Adams. Orsic is up with him, but Adams knew that he wasn't going to be able to fashion a pass past him. Walker-Peters, bearing in mind the stage of the game, made a long busting run outside. Shea Adams there. Couldn't hide his dismay when the ball wasn't played. He's now got to trot back to get back in position. Southampton have still got it, but have gone way back inside their own half. And the Olays are out against Manchester City. Things you thought you'd never see. Bazunu. Long right-footed clearance from him. And it goes all the way through to Ortega, who controls it and plays it forward again. Fourth official is John Brooks. We'll find out very shortly how many extra minutes are going to be added. We're in the 90th. Cancelo to Akanji. And that penalty shootout, incidentally, at the City Ground, both sides have missed their first penalty. Surridge and Neves, respectively. Here's Foden. Foden back for Ake. Ake to Rodri. Rodri, high ball out towards the City right. Inch perfect for Cancelo. It's nodding it down for the retreating Julian Alvarez. The World Cup winner plays it back for Akanji. Curving ball inside the penalty area, dealt with by Walker-Peters. Rodri trying to pick up the second. Southampton can and get a free kick. It's James Ward-Prowse that has gone down not too far outside his penalty area. Might need a little bit of treatment. And we've got 6 minutes of added time from when play restarts.
Yeah, normally when the 6-minute ball comes up, everyone thinks there's an opportunity, but this game for me looks beyond Manchester City. As I say, I've not seen them chasing with the ferocity that you normally expect a Manchester City and a Pep team chase when they're behind in the game, and it's almost they're resigned to, it's not going to be our night.
What do you put it down to? Workload, conditions, complacency?
Maybe a little bit of complacency. Obviously the team that was selected, and listen, Manchester City can normally mix and match their team a lot, and not much is said about it. They get over the line, they win whichever team they put out. It was probably the right team selection at the start of the game, but for whatever reason Southampton got their goals at good times and grew into the game, and I'm quite pleased, certainly for Nathan Jones, who's been under the pump a little bit recently, for him and the fans here to sort of have a game like tonight that will give him a big lift in the league.
Well, Ward-Prowse is okay. There was never much doubt about that, truth be told. Plays restarted, and City have a throw in their left-back position. Adams claiming that it was his, he knew that it wasn't. Ake takes it. Cancelo poking it for Perot's won it back. Adams on the edge of the penalty area. He's knocked it square. El Yunusi blocked by Cancelo. Diallo finding Romain Perot. And Perot will play it back for the blonde-haired Ward-Prowse. Brisk ball from the Southampton captain. Back for Perot again. Perot's ball inside the penalty area. Orsic couldn't get a shot in. City knock it away. Alvarez with his chest looking for Haaland. City need 2 and 5 minutes to take it to penalties. Kyle Walker-Peters picking it up on the right-hand side for Southampton, who can't be hurt when the ball is deep in Manchester City territory as it is now. Walker-Peters, who's been one of the man of the match candidates, has won a free kick, just given a little shove there. And a free kick that will kill some more time off the game. Alvarez has come all the way back with him, and his frustration got the better of him. And Southampton have the chance to run more seconds off the clock.
I've got to say, I totally agree with you there about Walker-Peters. Played very, very well tonight, both defensively. He's been very assured, and more importantly, his energy to get up and down the pitch as well and supplement the attack has been absolutely fantastic.
A night in which Manchester City haven't had a shot on target, and they need to score twice in the remaining 3.5 minutes of stoppage time. With the ball deep in their half. Free kick taken by Ward-Prowse, short for Adams. Walker-Peters has it again. Still dead level in that penalty shootout at the City Ground, incidentally. 2-2 after 3 penalties each. Ball play for by Diallo. Walker-Peters back for Ward-Prowse, out of play. Southampton have a throw. And the finishing line's very much in sight of them.
Yeah, it certainly is. They'll be delighted with this. The performance. I think they've been pretty manful in their performance, Southampton, tonight. Come into the game under big pressure, being booed off in recent league games here at St Mary's. And then from that, they've come out and delivered a performance against, the champions of England, basically.
And the Saints are marching in. We mentioned before the game that you've seen it a number of times, that an excellent cup performance, particularly an unexpected one, can sometimes be a huge catalyst for a league campaign. This could be a night that will have ramifications far beyond merely knocking Manchester City out of the League Cup. Everton away next, and then Villa here. 2 massive games coming up in the Premier League for Southampton, who have taken the first corner short and then won another one, and very successfully. continue to run the clock down. Another penalty apiece scored in that shootout at the City Ground. They're effectively into sudden death already. 4 minutes of a minimum of 6 being played here. It's more likely going to be 7, so probably about 3 minutes left. Another Southampton corner. Ward-Prowse motions that he's going to take it and then thinks better of it. Now just taps it forward. Adams using his physical strength to try and force Manchester City to play it, and they do play it off him, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. Ortega doesn't know where to take the goal kick. He knows he wants to take it quickly. He doesn't know whether to go long, whether to go short, who to go short to. He found Laporte to Akanji and back again. Now out towards Ake. Manchester City are going to stand any chance. They've surely got to score from this move just to set up a barnstorming final 60 seconds. Akanji towards Kevin De Bruyne. Is it going to be only the 5th time in his last 20 appearances that Haaland hasn't scored? Looks that way. Akanji for De Rodri. 2-0 to Southampton here, deep in stoppage time. Headed on inside the penalty area and straight out of play from Foden for a goal kick to Gavin Bazunu. And that'll just about be that.
Yeah, it's certainly not the ideal performance or result City would want leading into the Manchester derby at the weekend, but from Southampton's point of view, I think this victory and the confidence it will bring to the dressing room is probably maybe even more important for them.
Forest have won the shootout and they're in the semi-finals, and Southampton will be joining them any moment. Bazunu clears over halfway. Cancelo heading it back. Salisu, who's played really well tonight, back into Manchester City territory. A shank miscue from Cancelo. Then he heads it forward into space. Neat control from Rodri. But City's need so urgent, they have to get it forward. They know they're done here. No chance for them. They've lost possession. Foden losing out to Adams. Walker-Peters bringing it forward again for Southampton. Orsic is waiting in the middle. No need to try and play it in, because that is that. The Carabao Cup has been a competition that Manchester City have dominated since Pep Guardiola came to the club. They hadn't lost a game in regulation time in the League Cup since the 16-17 season, and nobody expected that to end tonight, but it has done against the Southampton side, who've lost their last 6 Premier League games, bottom of the table, but they've beaten them and have beaten them well. 2-0 didn't flatter the Saints, who make it through to the most unlikely of League Cup semi-finals. Could be a huge fillip for their season. They're through to the last 4, along with Forest, Manchester United and Newcastle. 2023 has seen some stories and some extraordinary acts in domestic cup football. This is right up there with them. It's finished at St Mary's. Southampton 2, Manchester City 0.
And Saints through with Forest, who've won the shootout, with Newcastle and Man United, who made it last night, into the semis. The draw is coming up on Sports Bar. Wolves and Manchester City, the League Cup specialists, go out. Pep Guardiola's ordered his players to go over to the away fans to applaud their support. There were loads of them there. They'll be left wondering what on earth that was all about, and what does it mean in terms of the Manchester derby live on Talksport on Saturday. But for Southampton, they're celebrating with their fans. Nathan Jones had his hand to his face at full time. It was almost like he couldn't believe what had happened, but let's give him so much credit for this. Pep Guardiola's proved to be the very best over the years, even when faced with some of the greats, with Klopp, Ancelotti, Mourinho, loads more. He's got past them all, but tonight he simply couldn't cope when for the first time in his career he came up against a manager who calls himself a skinny, rat-faced Welsh boy. Nathan Jones had his team so superbly coached that Manchester City, with Grealish, Foden, World Cup winner Alvarez, Erling Haaland and De Bruyne all on the pitch, couldn't score a goal. They could barely even get an effort on target. And I tell you what, Stuart Pearce, as the Saints players go around this St Mary's pitch, one thing from this game, it's left us in no doubts. The players are definitely playing for Nathan Jones here at Southampton.
Well, what an incredible 90 minutes change round. I mean, if I'd have asked you the same question 90 minutes ago, you'd have said, well, I'm not sure. He's not won the dressing room over, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, the team have delivered a performance, the managers delivered a performance, and you can see by those around us and in the stadium, the Saints fans, they're right behind the team, as you rightly say, and credit to them. This is a big, big result for them.
It is massive for them. Brilliant performance as well. We said at 0-0 that they were playing with some zip, energy, dynamism. They looked really organised. They never lost their shape, Stuart. They kept Man City quiet. This was a brilliant Manchester City 11 to start with. He brought on some even better players, Pep Guardiola. Still, they kept their shape. They kept following the instructions that Nathan Jones had given them, and they've won the game. And you know what, Stuart? They've won it comfortably in the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. As I say, we were probably 10-15 minutes into the second half, and Nathan Jones's body language said, I'm quite happy. Everything's, there's no problem on my goal. My team are doing particularly well, and I've got to say, they're just walking down the tunnel now. Ward-Prowse, Walker-Peters, Lianco. I thought the three of them were absolutely magnificent tonight.
They were. Kyle Walker-Peters taking off his shirt, giving it to a fan in the front row of this main stand here, where we're commentating from. James Ward-Prowse, the skipper, who led the way. A little bit of the dark arts from him at times in that second half that probably went unnoticed by a lot of people, but he can play that game as well. They scored good goals in the first half, Southampton, and maybe that was the flaw from a Manchester City point of view, that I think Stuart, with some orthodox centre halves on the bench, he got his defence all wrong, Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, as I say, it cost him a couple of goals, a couple of cheap goals at that, but as you say, sometimes you pick a team that you think's going to be good enough to get them over the line, and we looked at both teams before the game and we thought, yeah, City are pretty strong, and he's made the odd change, but it didn't diminish the power that Manchester City can have on the opposition. But I'll tell you what, tonight's all about Southampton. Credit to them. They come out, they're playing under pressure, they've been booed off at St Mary's in recent weeks, and to play under that pressure, both for manager and players, credit to them.
Well, it makes you wonder how the bottom of the table. However, Nathan Jones has only just got in, and it does make you wonder how they've lost all 4 Premier League games. But this is the turning point for them. It has to be. They have to transfer what they've done tonight to Saturday at Everton, which is huge.